a lot of the characters that you play, Sam, have guns. I know that you're a gun owner. Our girl over here, she's a gun owner also. And then I want to just quote you. You said, I don't think it's about gun control. You say that. I grew up in the South with guns everywhere and never shot anyone. This is about people who aren't taught the value of life. That was in 2012. Now, do you still agree with that statement?
Sure. Yeah, you have to have an understanding of your humanity and other people's humanity also. I also don't think it's okay for people to have guns. Nobody needs a machine gun.
Right.
If you're not in the Army.
Yeah. Even the Army says that.
Why was it enforcement? What did he do? Did he punch you?
He didn't want to talk about the issue, and he got pretty annoyed about it. And you share a similar view to him from the interviews that I've read, in that you've said you don't think there's any link between movie violence and video games and real-life gun crime. Is that what you think, and if so, why?
Well, I actually grew up playing with guns. I mean, we had toy guns. We had toy guns. If Christmas was not Christmas, if I didn't get a new toy gun, a cap pistol or something. And we shot at each other. We chased each other with these guns. We did all this stuff. And none of my friends ever shot anybody. We also had real guns in my house. And I shot those too, in the woods or at cans or at birds or whatever. And we still never turned those guns on each other. We understood what guns did to a human being, or what gun violence actually was. We understood it very well. I don't think one thing has to do with the other. That sitting in a movie theater watching people shoot each other doesn't make people want to go out and shoot other people, not people who are not mentally unbalanced. A good value system, a set of parents that tells you right from wrong, you understanding right from wrong, having a spiritual connection to your fellow man and the world, lets you know what's right and what's wrong, what's morally correct and what's not morally correct.
But a lot of people don't have that, do they?
Who are they? Who are they? And those people aren't my responsibility.
But don't you think part of teaching people right and wrong and what's cool and what's desirable is also in the movies?
No.
That the movies are influential things. I mean, Jules, your character in Pulp Fiction, is the ultimately cool bad guy, isn't he?
I don't know. I guess he is to some people. To me, he's just a character. He was a guy. He had a job. He did his job a specific way. He was a professional. He was good at his job. He was not distracted when he was doing his job. That's why John Travolta got killed and I didn't, because he got distracted. You know, I don't deal with characters in movies in that particular way. When people say, but you're a role model. Okay, I'm a role model. If you want me to be a role model, ask me. I'm a college graduate. I'm a father, a husband, a son. I'm a good person with all that. I'm a citizen. I pay my taxes. I've never been arrested. I believe in education. I believe in one's, treating man the way you want man to treat you. Yeah, I'm a movie star to you. To me, I'm just a guy with an interesting job. I don't want to cut in line in front of you. I don't want to, lord it over you because you see me or I'm famous. I'm famous because you think I'm famous. Don't ask my characters. Don't ask Nick Fury to be your role model. Don't ask Mace Windu to be your role model. Don't ask Jules Winfield to be your role model. If you're talking about Samuel Jackson, I'm a professional. I show up at work on time. I know my lines. I hit my marks. And I treat the other actors and the crew members with respect. That's a role model. It has nothing to do with who the characters are that I play on screen.
The president has commissioned this research from the CDC into whether they think there might be some link between what kids see on the screen and how they act. If that comes up and finds that there is a recognizable link,
come on,
would that change your view at all?
Somebody's going to find there's a recognizable link because that's what they're paid to do. Take that money and give those kids some spiritual training. Everybody's against that. Everybody talks about, you can't dictate people's religion and God. All right, whatever your God is telling you to treat other people with respect. Do that. Take that money and give those kids, give them gun training if you want to, gun safety training, or explain to them that fantasy is fantasy, reality is reality. I read books all my life. Books have violence in them, even the Bible. There's violence in all those books. It's not just movies. People need to understand parents have a responsibility. It's not the government's responsibility to make people better people. It's your parents' responsibility to make you a better person.
You revealed recently that you've had a stutter.
Have a stutter.
Have a stutter, still.
Yeah. I guess when I'm doing characters, my characters don't stutter, so I don't have to worry about them. And it was funny because when I was talking about it last week, I realized that I actually started to pretend to be people who didn't stutter when I was very young so that I wouldn't stutter. That seemed to be the thing that would work for me, that I had to go back and stop and say, well, where am I in the midst of all that? You know, how many people have I created to cover this thing to the point that maybe I've gotten lost in who I am, and I don't know.
So do you still have days when you're on set where you're...
Oh yeah. I have days, or, you know, some days it's B, some days it's P, some days it's G, and it all depends, you know. And I think probably the worst one for me are sentences that begin with W. I have W days a lot. So the first thing I have to say is what, when, why, or whatever, depending upon the level of intensity and where we're trying to go. I'll get caught up with woo, 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 and it just gets me. And I'll start trying to do that Porky Pig thing, thinking of an alternate word, but there aren't a lot of alternate words for why.
Samuel L. Jackson, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Enough. You can protest any speaker you want to. The minute you get violent, you say you're protesting because you want to protect people and stuff, and then you go and burn people's stuff. What the hell, man?
I think it's two different things.
It does. Whoever it is, it all happened in Berkeley, and you should not. You can protest and say we don't want this speaker. Don't go hear him, because the problem with you saying stop this person can't come is the person you want to come then will be stopped by somebody else.
And wasn't it Martin Luther King that always talked about when you get violent, you betray the message of what you're trying to say, and you lose your power.
You lose all your power.
There were protesters and there were outside agitators. So the protesters did not do this.
But we don't know who did it. We don't know who did it. That's the problem.
That's what you've heard.
Everyone gets lumped together, and it becomes the narrative becomes all the protesters did this. And so what I'm saying is, listen, outside agitators, you're not helping.
Yeah.
You're not helping, because you are burning people's businesses. You are setting people back. What the hell, man?
Yeah.
Protest all you want to. Stop messing with people's stuff.
But let's talk about whether he has a right to protest, to speak there.
Absolutely. I just said everybody has the right to speak.
Well, I think everyone has a right to speak, but basically, when I was in college, they really vetted people who were going to speak. There were, maybe people like JFK would come to the school. You know what I mean? It wasn't just some troll on the internet, which is what this guy basically is.
He is that, but that is not.
He was invited, though. Don't say his name, because I don't think he deserves any more press.
But he was invited by the Republicans, the Young Republicans Club.
I'm just saying, I'm the First Amendment person here. I really believe in it. But this guy, why'd they invite this guy? He has been banned from Twitter. He made horrible comments against Leslie Jones from SNL.
Yes.
He said at least the new Ghostbusters has a hot black guy in it, meaning her. Now, here is hate speech. It's speech that threatens or insults groups based on race, color, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, disability. So he's a sexist.
Yep.
He's a racist. Why should he be invited?
Listen, that is not our thing to control. If they want to invite him, that's fine. You don't have to go see him.
Yeah.
You don't have to go see him, but you cannot.
It's a slippery
You can
slope
say
to
we're
start
going to
cutting off.
protest.
I agree with that.
We can protest outside, but you don't have to go in, but you don't have the right to